Let's talk about trolls. Back in the past where trolls were actually hated instead of being considered as funny. Close but not quite. That's more like it. The trolls in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion are quite menacing enemies, but they're also quite depressive creatures. So depressive that some of them might commit suicide. You think I'm joking? In a particular part of the game, there's a bridge over a river. Below this bridge, there's the corpse of a bridge troll who have just committed suicide. How do I know this? Because if you search his body, you'll find a note that reads,
"Me worst troll ever. Nobody pay big troll. Me not scary enough. Me get drone and kill self. Troll drone."
Now, this note is, to quote the game, a poorly scrawled note. But at least it has better spelling than most of the troll comments on YouTube. Oh, burn! This is one of the many gaming legends of which people speak. A long time ago, in 1991, the Nintendo Power magazine hosted a contest that will allow a kid to be featured in an official licensed Nintendo game. That game was The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And the kid who won this contest was a boy named Chris Houlihan. But some members of the Nintendo of America debugging team insisted in removing his cameo from the game, but others wanted to keep it in. Finally, they all came to an agreement. The Chris Houlihan room does exist, but it's not easy to find. The Chris Houlihan room has been carefully hidden, but there are ways to get in. One way involves running into a tree with super speed, others blowing yourself up into a hole, or simply running into a hole in a bush. But whichever way, the result will always be the same. You'll find the legendary room, a big square room filled with lots of rupees and the famous sign. Sadly, this Easter egg was never heard of until the invention of the internet. But now, it has earned its place in the Hall of Video Game Fame. Chris Houlihan should be proud. After the spectacular success of the arcade version of Donkey Kong, Atari saw this as a perfect opportunity and got license from Nintendo to make a port of Donkey Kong for the Atari 400 and 800. A man named Landon M. Dyer was hired to convert Donkey Kong for the Atari. The catch? He did it. All by himself. He spent countless hours carefully transferring every bit and piece of the game's data into the Atari, without any help. And during his time of work, he took the liberty to hide an Easter egg of his own. To find this Easter egg, you have to do one of the most unnecessarily complex procedures ever thought by a human mind. Play the game and get a new high score of 37,000, 73,000, or 77,000. Then, die multiple times until you get a game over, but your last death must be by falling. After this, set the game difficulty to 4. Finally, wait for the game to cycle through the demo screen, and the Easter egg will finally be revealed, which is the developer's initials. I know. The Easter egg itself isn't very impressive. If anything, it's actually pretty underwhelming. But what really is amazing about this Easter egg is how long it took to be found. You know how long was this Easter egg hidden before people finally found it? 26 years. 26 years! This Easter egg may not be the most impressive Easter egg ever created. But when you hide an Easter egg so well that it takes over a quarter of a century for people to find, you know you've made one heck of an Easter egg. Braid, a fantastic indie game about the adventures of a young man named Tim, who has the ability to control time whichever way. He uses his powers to overcome various levels and obstacles and save a missing princess. Definitely not the kind of game where you'd expect to find something like, I don't know, an atomic bomb. Yes, all the rumors are true. There is, in fact, an atomic bomb conspiracy in Braid. Throughout the game, it gives you the option to collect 7 secret stars hidden in the levels. They serve no important purpose and they're never mentioned in the game at all. You can play the game several times and never know they exist. And even still, some of these stars are very difficult to obtain. So when you collect the 7 stars and play the final level of the game, something strange happens. Originally, in the final level, you simply have to help the princess escape, when in reality, she's running away from you. But if you've collected the stars, you can actually catch up to the princess and touch her, which results in this. the After getting the 7 hidden stars, you can catch the princess, and she flashes, jumps around the place, and detonates, followed by the sound of an explosion and a whiteout. And then she's gone. She disappeared without a trace. This is not subtle at all. But are you still not convinced that Braid has an atomic bomb conspiracy going on? How about this? The game's epilogue features a quote from Kenneth Bainbridge, the head of the Trinity atomic bomb tests. In other words, Braid is a metaphor for the creation of the atomic bomb. As mentioned earlier, the game's protagonist has the ability to manipulate time. It represents all the people who wish humanity could just go back in time and prevent all the damages caused by the atomic bomb. The title screen of the game is a city being burned to ashes. This isn't just an Easter egg. It's an entire hidden meaning. That's powerful. Really powerful. So far you've seen 24 video game Easter eggs. Some pretty cool, others a bit lame, and others... yeah, you know what I'm saying. But time has come to finish this list. And even though this wasn't a ranked list, I still want to end this list on a high note. So for interesting Easter egg number 25, I present you not just one, but various Easter eggs from a game franchise whose secrets and mysteries have become just as famous as the series itself. The Portal series. The original Portal had a mysterious atmosphere and raised so many questions, especially about GLaDOS, Aperture Science, and those mysterious writings on the walls. Portal 2 answered a lot of these questions, but also raised several more. Here are some of the craziest secrets from Portal 2. First, we have a lovely quartet of turrets rehearsing a song that won't play in the game until the last 2 minutes. All you have to do to find them is clear the path in Test Chamber 16. Also, Portal 2's multiplayer features a co-op mode with the robots Atlas and Peabody. At one point in the regular campaign, you can take a brief look at Peabody in the test chamber next to you. Also, remember GLaDOS fast-forward instructions?
Let me give you the fast version. There, if you have any questions, just remember what I said in slow motion.
Here's what it says slow down.
And methodically knocking people's hats off, then I found high time to get the scene as soon as I can.
Which is a quote from Moby Dick. Next, the story behind the wall writings. It is revealed in the Portal 2 comic found in the game's extras that those messages were written by a guy named Doug Ratman, or Ratman as some people call him. He was the only survivor after GLaDOS filled the enrichment center with a neurotoxin prior to the events of the first game. So he walks around the facility writing messages on walls for GLaDOS test subjects. In fact, in one of the earlier test chambers in Portal 2, you can hear a strange distorted speech if you stand close to one of the graffiti walls. Which can be rearranged into this. Yep, that's Ratman. And speaking of Ratman, at the turret opera in the game's ending, look around the room closely and you will briefly see the Ratman himself crawling from one place to another. And now things get a little disturbing. While revising the sound files of Portal 2, some people found Easter eggs that weren't even in the game. Some of the game's sound files have recorded lines of dialogue of an agitated woman saying the following things.
Mr. Johnson! Mr. Johnson, I don't want this! I don't want this! No, listen to me. Sir, I do not want this.
That is in fact Caroline protesting against her transformation into GLaDOS. Not only that, but the man who made the voice for Cape Johnson originally had lines of dialogue in this too, but he refused to record them because they sounded like rape. Doesn't that remind you of... Okay, I gotta stop making vaguely related references. And finally, the most amazing Easter egg in Portal 2, at least in my opinion, can be found in Test Chamber 6. After GLaDOS catapults garbage at you, you can place a portal in the side of a wall that will throw the garbage into a secret room. So you go to that secret room where you find yet another one of Ratman's graffiti walls. But if you pick up the radio and enter the room with the graffiti, you get the spectacular, mind-blowing, amazing, completely astonishing Easter egg that is... a weird electronic bus. Oh, but I'm not done here. This is no ordinary electronic bus. This is actually an SSTV signal. For those who don't know, a slow scan television signal, or SSTV, is a picture that has been fragmented into an audio format that can travel through radio waves and then be decoded by a special television or computer. Astronauts use it during the Apollo missions. So if you get a clean audio rip of this strange transmission and use a program to decode it, the image that comes out is this.
Jesus.
Yep, the game was giving you spoilers of the game's ending in the first 30 minutes of gameplay. This may not seem like the coolest Easter egg in the game, but if you take in consideration all the thought and development used to hide this Easter egg and the procedure you have to do to actually see it, it really is amazing how creative game developers can be. And that concludes 25 interesting Easter eggs in video games. Like I said before, there are thousands of other Easter eggs out there that I haven't mentioned, but that doesn't mean I'll ignore them. So expect 25 more interesting Easter eggs in video games sometime in the future. Thank you for watching, hope you like the list, and I'll see you again next time. I'm Media Master, and before I end this video, let me tell you that I have also left a personal Easter egg of my own somewhere in this list. But if you want to know what it is, you'll have to find it yourself. Signing off.
I told you, bro. I told you about the moon. It keeps happening.